What up, what up? Now, I know a lot of you are here to learn about financial options and walkthroughs in the Republic of Korea, and I promise that that'll always be our main priority on this channel. But with everything that's already been covered here, it seems fair that we take a break from the hardcore financial stuff to focus on the bigger picture. You're watching Sekkider, and this episode will detail the most essential investment you can make regardless of the world you live in. Yourself. Before I move on, I'd just like to request that you please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel as we continue to bang out helpful videos into the new year. Now let's get to it. Now the concept of self-improvement that we're getting into today builds off Warren Buffett's 2017 assertion that, ultimately, there's one investment that supersedes all others. Invest in yourself. And, as usual, we're going to dive into this using a fun little concept called chaos theory. In short, chaos theory is a branch of mathematics that deals with complex systems whose behavior is highly sensitive to slight changes in conditions. In other words, it's the idea that small alterations now can give rise to strikingly great consequences in the future. It's essentially the butterfly effect. It's the unforeseeable consequences of an act or change in circumstances on a potentially massive future outcome. Now, with regards to what we're talking about today, we'll be taking as a fundamental truth that self-improvement and self-investment in the short term can pay off in an unlimited number of ways between now and the day we die. And with that being said, let's get to the guts. Whether you're a teacher, in IT, or it's just vibes, there are many ways that you can improve your competency as a person while wandering blindly through the world. With the advent of the internet and the ubiquity of connectivity in this country that we call home, self-improvement is rarely more than a couple taps of your phone away. Just by being here, watching this video, you're proving how easy it is to access and share knowledge in the information age. And in this video, we'll discuss 3 easy, accessible, and worthwhile resources that'll help you increase your capacity as a human being, providing returns beyond your bank account. The first thing I want to talk about are MOOCs. Now, if you already know about these, feel free to skip ahead, but MOOCs are maybe my favorite game changer in the internet age, and here's why. The acronym MOOC stands for Massive Open Online Course, and it refers to the provision of university-level courses to the general public free of charge. That is to say, university-level education, academic articles, and multimedia resources from a wide array of world-renowned institutions are just a click away, and the only thing you need is the time and commitment necessary to complete the courses themselves. While full programs and provisions of certificates and degrees may require payment, auditing of and participation in courses is usually absolutely free. That means learning is right at your doorstep. Now, whether certificates matter to you or not is another matter, but as an educator, it's my belief that it's not the paper in your hand or on your wall, but the knowledge in your head that really makes a difference in this world. We all know about how Bill Gates was a university dropout who just opted to audit classes instead. And while we may not have had the financial security to do what he did at that time, the internet has given us the opportunity to do exactly what he did. Now, there are a number of websites that host MOOCs, MOOC programs, and fully online degrees from the bachelor's to master's levels. And here's a 3-point list of my personal favorites. The first one is edX. Now, edX was created in cooperation with MIT and Harvard University, and they host free courses from institutions around the world, including, but not limited to, Harvard, MIT, UC Berkeley, the Sorbonne, Boston U, the Australian National University, Hong Kong Polytechnic, Seoul-dae, UBC, McGill, Kyoto, Oxford, U of T, Hamad bin Khalifa. I mean, you get the drift. All around the world, these universities and a lot of institutions are providing university-level education for absolutely free. Another platform that I really like is Coursera, and it collaborates with international universities and businesses to provide classes ranging from the arts to programming to business to language learning, and it includes a few Korean courses from Yonsei-dae. Their interface is really easy to navigate, so if you've never done a MOOC before, this is a good way to go. It's actually the first platform I ever used for MOOCs, and the first course I ever took I'll link in the description box below. It was called Learning How to Learn, Powerful Mental Tools to Help You Master Tough Subjects, and it's hosted by Dr. Barbara Oakley of McGill University. A third platform, if you can speak Korean or just for our Korean listeners in general, is KMOOC. KMOOC is the main platform for MOOCs provided by schools across Korea with over 800 courses at this time that are currently available from institutions such as Goryeo-dae, Seoul-dae, Gangnam, Jeju-dae, Busan, and Yonsei-dae. There are a lot more. You can just check it out. All you have to do is sign up and they're free. there are a whole lot of universities that provide you with education and resources you would have gotten as a student, but they give it to you for free, and you can study on your schedule. And while we all know that employers look for degrees, investing in yourself is not always about getting a better job or making yourself more money, because you never know how this is going to pay off in the future. Side note, if you do want to learn Korean but don't really want to have to pay at the moment to get started, Yonsei offers a free basic course on Coursera, and EBS also has a course on EBS Durian, which I'll link in the description box below. But if that's too much for you, just go satisfy the Duolingo owl a little bit. My guy definitely misses you. Now here's a quote that I heard on a podcast a few years ago, and I don't really remember who said it, so if you can identify it, let me know in the comments. But it goes something like this. If you don't hate who you were last year, you're probably not learning enough. So, let's get to learning. And let's move on to number 2. The second investment that could benefit you going forward does have a small fee for entry, but it's by far one of the best investments that I make on a regular basis. And I want to preempt this by saying that this is not an ad and I don't own any stake in the company at all. I just think that there's little to compete with what it offers at its price point. And what I'm talking about is Amazon's audiobook service, Audible. If you don't already know, Audible is Amazon's platform with thousands of books narrated by authors, voice actors, celebrities, and has topics ranging from classical fiction to non-fiction to business to self-help to whatever the fuck kind of book your heart desires. There are a variety of subscriptions that you could choose from, like the basic level, which allows you unlimited streams of a large catalog of books, or Premium Plus, which gives you 1 or 2 free credits each month to use on any book not included in the premium catalog. Once you do buy the books, they stay in your library inventory to listen back to even if you cancel your subscription. Now, I know that sounds like one hell of an ad, but I don't think I have to explain the benefits of consuming books on a regular basis. There's too much knowledge in the world and too little time to spend reading everything, so why not let someone do the reading for you while you zone out on that one 구간 과속 단속 stretch of the highway on the way to work? If you want to jumpstart your investing knowledge, they have pop classics like The Richest Man in Babylon, or The Most Important Thing, or Beat the Street. If you want to learn more about the historical context of our current socioeconomic reality, you can always turn to 2 books that I've already mentioned here, Capital in the 21st Century or The Jakarta Method. Or maybe check out some other classics like Orientalism by Edward Said, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa by Walter Rodney, The Wretched of the Earth by Frantz Fanon, or even Discourse on Colonialism by Césaire. If none of that interests you, there's always something to be learned from sci-fi, fantasy, mystery, self-help, poetry, classical lit. The more you know, the more you know. And no matter what happens down the road, nobody can take that from you. Now originally the third thing I was going to say is books, but people already know that they should be reading, and let's face it, people hate being told to read. Plus, audiobooks are a legit alternative, so let's go with something that everyone else can do. Give back. Invest in yourself by investing in others. Now excuse me if this sounds like some holistic hippie Dr. Seuss Mother Goose type shit, but allow me a moment to get real. The world is not an inherently good or an inherently bad place, and people aren't inherently good or bad. Mans just are. And one thing we do our whole lives is consume. We consume the planet, we consume each other, we consume ourselves. So before we head back into the dirt, it behooves us to put something back into this world that leaves it better than how we found it. Better yet, something that gives back more than we take. Now there are a couple of ways to do this, and the first thing is something that we've known to do since grade school. You can volunteer. Korea, for all of its beauty and opportunity, is not without its blind spots, and there are hundreds of ways to find volunteer opportunities in your locale. From soup kitchens for the elderly, to language exchanges with children from low-income households and orphanages, to even initiatives that improve animal welfare to get them out of the shelters and into loving homes, there's something for everybody. If you plan to live here for time, there's so much to be gained, whether it be networking with other volunteers, to cleansing your soul from that one thing you did years ago that you're ashamed of and never told anyone about. But more than anything, volunteering puts you into your community in a way that nothing else can, and that's an important thing since, real talk, it can get lonely as fuck being here for the long term. Now the second way to give back is through your pocketbook. See, I recognize a lot of people need their extra time to live their lives and decompress, but let's be honest. If you have an extra 300 bones a month to put into your portfolio, you can afford 30 a month to a charity or an NGO of your choice. And while the markets may throw your investments for a loop during a downturn, a little money donated could change the life of someone that the markets would never deem efficient enough to consider. Give back a little or give back a lot, but just think about chaos theory. What good you do now for someone else can shake the world in the future. So in short, while this channel is dedicated to providing you with ways to take care of your money in Korea, it'll always benefit you to invest in yourself through relentless learning, exposure to the greatest minds in the history of our species, and providing for those who need it the most. And I know I said I wouldn't tell you to read, but you should probably read more. Read the news for something short, read your monthly free quota from the New Yorker, or head over to our affiliate Hanggang Magazine and read about where you can go to gamble in the Republic of Korea. Alright, that's it from me. The vaccine's almost here, so keep your wits about you and be better than who you were last year. Take it easy, family.